What are the advantages and reasons for getting off restriction? Being able to be of maximum service with the chores and structure during the day. I want to take on more responsibility in the house. What is your commitment to the house and its members? My commitment is to stay sober no matter what and love and care about my brothers and sisters and add value to this community through being consistent with attitudes and actions that uphold an atmosphere of recovery and graduate the house. How do you view getting off restriction and why? It's absolutely a privilege and a contract of trust. I only want it if my house feels that I earned it.
He needs to be on like a 3-sentence deal when he explains shit. His narrative, pretty much.
So I said the exact same thing downstairs the other day, did I not? And you know who gave me the best advice on that? Zach, when I over-explain shit, dude, that like words start to lose value the more you say them, dude. You don't have to like have an explanation for everything, dude. Like you could just relax and like let things like be the way they should. Not everything needs an input, not everything needs an explanation. So with that being said though, you probably have made the best improvement comparatively. Someone who fucking had how many words accumulate? Over 20K in small strikes accumulate? That's the craziest thing I ever fucking seen. But like you overcame that and like look at the strike board now. You're not on it for like anything, dude. So your improvement is astounding. Run it.
You know, when you first came into this house, your main focus was like your phone and your main focus was seeking validation from the house. Since then, you have made the biggest improvement in this house since I have been here. You have pushed your capabilities far beyond what you even could have imagined. You have become much more authentic, not only with yourself and with others. And I'm really proud.
The Nick you were when you came into this house versus the Nick you are now is crazy. It is fucking crazy. Like, I am so proud of you. Like, how mad is it? Like, with the words thing, you got that fire under your ass and you were ready to go. I'm just so proud of you.
I want to give everybody hugs, but I'm on a program.
Down.
Yes.
What are you up to? You're about to go on your second job interview of the day? Oh, look at you.
Man, I had to get fresh real quick.
You
fresh and professional. Pleasure to meet you.
So
Nicholas
good.
Harris, here to do anything you need me to do.
Second interview?
Second interview.
Cool. How's it going, Jose? How's he doing?
It's doing good. He's he got his phone back today.
Oh, you got your phone back today. Let me see. Bro, we got to be careful with that, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Healthy
Right.
boundaries with the cell phone.
Are there boundaries? Do we have,
Yeah, we have a little plan for him.
what's the plan?
Well, he can't post right now. I don't want him to post right now. I want him to keep focusing on his sobriety and the house structure.
In the future, eventually, we're going to be able to do everything that we want to do. Bro, I still can't even live stream.
Yeah, and I'm actually kind of happy to have some time away from all of the. Honestly, I love a lot of you guys, but some of you guys on there really scare me. So it's like I just want to feel happy and healthy here at home and focus on my house and my family.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I feel the same way, dude. I really wish there was a way to cleanse.
Is T here? You're a first timer here? I didn't know that, JJ. Well, nice to see you. Start from season 1. Oh my god. Mariah just fucking entered the fucking chat. I love you, Mariah. I just went crazy. Damn, I missed it. Well, Mariah, box up, sis. I'm ready if you are. I'm sure it'll be all over the streets. I don't know. My I can't right now. Okay. Well, I'll do a little brief update. Is Teapot here? Anybody here that wants to come into a box? I know that Brycey Poo wants to come into a box. He wants to get in my box. Well, I'm about to give you a little story time, honey. Hello, everyone that's here. Hello, friends. Minty T. Thank you, Minty, for sharing. Thank you all. Laura. Cody, Ashley, will you please private message Cody and tell her this is not the right time? Like, it's going to get clipped on YouTube. It's going to not be good. Like, now is not the good time. I've said it like 4 times, Cody. I love you, but like I cannot put you in that situation or get you like involved in stuff. I gotta protect you, sister. Trust me. If I say no, I'm not telling you no because I love you. I just don't want like something to happen or you get involved in something. I wouldn't do that to you. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, anybody. Bryce, I sent you a fucking invite. What's up? Yeah, because I was just live with Mason, I did ask him a couple questions. I did throw some, curveballs at him. I tried to speak in code to protect him. She's at work? Who's at work? Nancy Grace is here. Nancy. Nancy, you're... Hi, beautiful.
Hello, gorgeous. How are you?
Good. I just seen Nancy Grace in my box, and she's kind of iconic. I'm a little scared of her, but very iconic.
Nancy Gray. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That
Like,
rings a bell.
I would love to ask her some questions. Like, she's fucking... She gives me, like, Teapot vibes. Maybe
why don't you
a
ask
little,
her?
little more ferocious than Teapot, possibly.
I don't know if that's possible.
No, I think Teapot's a fucking, like, she's a go-getter. Like, she's not gonna let someone hurt people and get away with it, kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. How's your night been?
Well, I had no clue that, first off, that Nick was going to come to my live. That was the best shock of my life. Thank you, Mariah. Thank you, Nick, for that. So to hear and to like see that he's doing really well, and then to see the happiness from Mariah today was absolutely beautiful. And then, of course, my mom was awesome today, my family. And then coming here, I did not think Mason would be live. I was very shocked. But I did want to ask him some questions, but I was nervous to ask certain questions because I got to really protect Nick the best I can.
Yeah. And yourself.
Well, yes, and myself, of course.
Yeah. Definitely.
Bryce is saying what's going in my box, but now he's denying me. So, Bryce, what's up?
I told him to behave himself before because I got told that he was going to cause some shit, and I was like, you behave yourself, Bryce. So,
Well, what's he going to do? He can't do nothing to me.
Some of the things he says.
Yeah, but nothing he can say can hurt my ass. Rain
Yeah.
check, I knew it. I knew you were scared, Brycey Poo.
Must be on the phone to Summer.
Well,
She said it, not me. Not me.
I probably shouldn't have said it really, but I've got nothing to lose, so I don't care.
oh, there's Teapot. Yay. Teapot, come up here. I want to see what you thought about my little questions with Mason and see how I did.
He
I
looks
didn't
different,
overstep any
didn't he?
boundaries. Yeah, I think like he looked like his hair was definitely not as fresh as it was, and he shaved his mustache.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. There's something else going on too, though. He didn't look his normal happy self, and he says he's happy, but
Well, you heard me ask that question.
yeah, I did.
Why can't I get Nancy? This account's brand. Okay, bring your other account in. I would love to talk to Nancy Grace. How do I get her ass up here?
I have to go. I'll come back later.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Well, right now I didn't ask any questions that would harm Nick or Graceland when it came to Mason. I was very careful with how I asked questions. he did provide a little information. He did answer my questions pretty well. He definitely did not answer a lot of my questions. He definitely was scared. I know that I'm scared to talk about Graceland. And I'm scared to talk about Graceland and Pat and things like that. So I know that he has to feel it just like I did. So
I always try to keep it very respectful and
of course
neutral.
And now that Nick has access to his phone, that's going to be leverage for them. So I have to be even more careful.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm not putting him in danger. I'm not taking that sunshine and light from Mariah. I'm not going to play any kind of part and nothing negative. But well, I guess no one wants to come up here, so I guess we'll just move on. And I thought Teapot would come up, let me know what she thought. Oh, we have to call Mariah and give her an update a little bit later. I'm sure she'll see a clip if it's posted.
Oh, shit's being clipped, that's for sure.
I do think Mason did look a little bit different than what I remember. He did seem a little bit more nervous, but yeah.
I think he looked a little bit different too, and I can't really pinpoint what it was, but
that's why I said, are you sober? Like, are you doing okay? And I said, how's your mental health? Like, are you good? And he said, yes. I asked those questions because I thought like something felt a little bit like, not like that exactly, but like I felt like something was different. So I was just checking on him.
yeah. Well, Lord Cody just messaged me to tell you something.
Hold on. Ashley, just for your safety, I'm going to drop you for a second. Is it okay?
Yep.
All right, love you.
Love you.
Teapot!
Hello. Sorry,
Would
we
you
were on a
s-
call, and then I was getting messages to come in, so at the same time, and I was like, shit, I gotta get...
Well, I want to say, I made a statement that I thought Nancy Grace might be a little bit more scarier than you, as far as like someone you shouldn't fuck with.
I would agree with that.
Like, you're scary. Like, I'll tell you right now, I will never fuck with you in a negative way. I will never be I'll never be an enemy. But Nancy Grace, baby, I'm gonna tiptoe like a motherfucker and make sure my T's are crossed and my I's are fucking dotted.
Oh, yeah. Nancy knows her, she's been doing the Graceland stuff for so long that she really knows her shit. Definitely a tough girl. Definitely a tough girl.
Amen. So I got these strawberry and cream M&Ms today. So I've been slowly picking on them today. So if you hear any sounds, that's what I'm doing. But how was my questions and interview with Mason?
It was good. I know that I seen Mason when he first got on there, and he wasn't, of course, Mason's, he's going to tread lightly as well. I'm sure that he's under some sort of contract / NDA of some sort as well, so he's not going to be able to say much. But where he's also in that grad house still, that he's not going to jeopardize that while he's still living there anyways. But I think, I don't think he's being truthful when it comes to why he's no longer working with them. I don't think that was, I think there was a lot of issues with that happened with Mason, and I don't think he voluntarily quit type thing.
Yep.
I wanted to ask more. You're treading lightly as well. Like it's hard for you guys because you guys are on the other side where you have to stay nice.
Did you notice how I said that to him? And did you see his facial expression when I said it? The first time I said it to his face.
Yeah, and he definitely, because he knows too, right? He definitely knows that if you're not playing ball, you're not on the team. If you don't want to play.
I will say, it does suck to be in a situation where you have to stay quiet. So, for example, if say Pat does something really shady and I want to call him out because he's hurting my friend or something like that, to know that I have to sit here and stay fucking quiet, that is going to be hard if that was to happen. obviously things are okay right now. But I was saying, like, if that was to happen, like, I don't know. Like, could you bite your tongue in that situation if you were in my shoes?
Definitely, I couldn't, just because I can never close my mouth. Like, I'm just one of those people. But it's like you're in such a difficult situation because you're a smart girl and you can see the ins and out of what's going on, but then again you also care about somebody that's there. And so if you do make a wrong move, just knowing how Graceland is, that they're going to be like, well, she's talking shit, Nick, we don't think she's a good person, you're not talking to her, type thing. And Nick looks like he's drank the Kool-Aid, so he's going to go along with whatever they're giving him, type thing.
I don't think he drank the Kool-Aid.
He looks very programmed / manipulated. And Pat's very good at manipulating, and Nick is very good at wanting to be like other people. And right now he's looking at Pat like he's his idol, I think, and whatever Pat says is just the most amazing thing, and Pat knows best, I think, in my opinion.
I agree, but I also think that Nick's a little bit smarter. I think he knows he has to play the game and he has to be smart. He cannot make a wrong move. So I think it's a little bit more in depth, but I also think that he is believing, and he does believe in, and I hope, but I do think he's a little, I can't add nothing else, but I will tell you just from his friend, and Mariah don't have to vouch in the chat, but I think Mariah would vouch. I think that he is a little tiny bit smarter than what you're giving a little bit credit for.
I hope so. I mean, I hope he somewhat knows what he's doing there. You know what I mean? I hope at least he has a little bit of something in the back. Oh, thank you. Yeah, at least he has a little bit of something in the back of his mind that he should just keep on his toes with what's going on to make sure he's not going to get screwed.
So let me just put this in the format a little bit. So imagine you want your fucking phone back, right? And you realize you're not getting it back after the 60 days. You realize a lot is changing. Like Mason's gone, this person's gone, this is all changed. So I think like in a survival setting, you're by yourself really, but you're living in a place that's, you're getting really comfortable with. But you know that you have to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G in order to get what you want. So I think in a way, he had to do a lot of stuff to get to where he's at today. And then now the position they put him in with having a phone, he cannot fuck up. So they now have more power over him than ever before. And they have more power over Mariah and I and his mom than ever before. Because we don't want him on TikTok, so we love the rule that he can't post, he can't go live, he can't do things. That's epic. We want that. I think that you want that. Even though like you're not his friend and like you are of course rooting for his safety and you want everyone in the house to be good, but like you're not his biggest fan. But I think that you even would agree that probably the phone posting and going live is not probably smart for him right now.
Yeah, definitely.
But imagine he just got his phone back. He has it in his hand. He can look at stuff. He has a freedom to call. He has a freedom to like just touch that phone and it's his. Now he does give it back. He does, give it back in the night and things like that. And there is some like rules and policies he has to follow, but he has that back. So now they gave him, so like, imagine like, I'm sure you already know where I'm going with this, but basically like now that he has it in his hands, he is going to be the best boy ever in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And if he does one thing wrong, or we do one thing wrong, he's going to lose that. And so now we're even in a tougher situation.
And I think that there's a goal put in front of Nick. I think that he is trying to get to the point where he can be like this. They've got, like, in my opinion, that he can be this house manager, that he can be just like Pat, because I think he looks up to Pat now, thinking Pat's like, you know, famous in Nick's mind, and that if he goes along with this and does what he's supposed to say and follows in Pat's footsteps and stuff, that he can be just like Pat and make that happen for himself. I mean, I think that there has to be a goal put in place for Nick to get to, and I think that's what he's trying to accomplish.
Yeah. No, I agree. And he's getting a job. He had a second interview. Things are going really well with that situation. I think he's really proud of himself. Like, I think Nick goes into things a little bit low self-esteem, a little bit like thinking that he's not going to achieve something. To still get a call back for a second interview, fuck yeah. So I think he's excited. I think he's really, and then to get his phone back, I think things are looking a little bit up for him. But like, of course, I'm afraid, and Mariah's afraid that, like, what if they take it from him now, or he does one thing wrong, or if we say one thing wrong, he's gonna lose his access. So we have to be like even more careful now. And like today, like talking to Mariah, like she honestly, like, again, she's not trying to get back with him. She's not trying to date him. She's not trying to be in a relationship. She's focused on herself. He's focused on himself. But we are his friends. And Mariah's like his real life, like, best friend, biggest companion, life partner, as far as like him being in a strange situation type thing. And so, like, the joy on her face and the joy in her voice today was absolutely beautiful. I'm so proud that she now truly can focus on herself for a second and not have to worry.
Yeah, I think one of the best things to ever happen for them both was them to separate. I mean, that was evident, that them being together and it going the way it's been going is not healthy for either one of them at all. So I think the best thing that could happen was this separation.
Yeah, but like now, like for example, tomorrow morning when he wakes up, he gets his phone back. He can call her, he can text her whenever he wants. If he's having a bad day, if he needs that reassurance, because Nick needs reassurance a lot. When Mariah tells him that he's okay, he's going to have a better day. He's going to work harder. And she's also going to be able to, like, put her phone down and be at peace and not have to question or worry. And that's kind of like what I felt today. Like, she felt really good. So it looks good, like, on paper, like what's happening. And I'm excited for Nick. I'm also excited, you know, for him to have that freedom of the job and then have his phone back at a limited situation. But like talking to Mason, I really want to ask him some more questions. I want to go a little deeper, but I have to, of course, protect myself and protect him. But I do think that, like, for him, because I know what he wanted today. He wanted to go live. He wanted to make some money. He wanted to have a good energy, good vibe, and he wanted to like meeting that guy Mike from X on the Beach. Like, that's something, like, he's a 1 month sober. Mason can help someone. He can provide someone a little bit of tools, and he could be an asset to the world. And I know that he wants to have a platform of his own without Graceland. I know that he wants to have good energy, but as soon as I said, we're probably going to get clipped on this, and if you watched it, his energy went from like 90 with Mike to being at like 0, and then he ended up logging off. But I don't want to be dishonest.
And Mason needs to realize too that he hasn't been live since all this stuff happened, since he's left or, you know, no longer working for them. So he has to realize that with him going live, people, he said he wants to distance himself and have a separate platform, but for the next while, he's going to be hounded with Graceland questions because people have questions and they're going to try to get the answers that they need out of him. And that's just unfortunately how this is going to go. Is it's going to be a lot about Graceland for a while because his followers came from are because of Graceland, and people want information. We want the tea type thing. So he's going to be clipped. It's going to be put out there when he goes live. If he says anything at all, even his live tonight, when he first started and said a couple things about Graceland, that's going to be put out there. It's how this is going to roll. It's same with Andrew Drake that left Graceland. So tomorrow night, he's supposed to be doing this Graceland, kind of like exposure live on YouTube. Tomorrow or tonight, Thursday night, he's going to be doing it and he's already left. So we're wondering what he's going to say. And no one thought that he was really going to talk because he said that he's under this NDA, but he's definitely gonna say something. So we're all wondering and we don't, maybe when Mason finally gets out of the house, he'll follow in the same footsteps and sting a little bit more about what went on. So we'll see. Thank you, Scarhead.
Well, I think that like when it comes to Mason, I think that he is in a very tough situation because it wasn't the other person. He was a resident, and yes, Mason was a resident, but he's also a graduate, so he carried a lot of responsibility. We watched that one day when there was no house managers there, and the residents were all on their own. We also watched the pizza party. We watched so many things that he was a part of. So in a way, he's a little bit guilty in participating in a little bit farther than like Matthew was, because Matthew was a resident. So Mason's like a part of the Pat inner circle. So like to me, like he has to be even more careful than someone like Matthew. I think Mason, if the wrong thing said or if he participated in the wrong situation, he's going to be held accountable.
Oh, 100%. And Mason has more of the inside, background scoop of what's actually going on, right? So, I mean, if Mason sings, it'll be great for everybody that's like, FGL type thing. But Mason definitely knows. But Mason, his hands are not clean as well, because Mason participated in some stuff that wasn't right. And that's, it's kind of give or take that they probably have stuff on Mason too that they could let out. And it seems like a lot of times they don't care what they post, good or bad, about people that have been there either. So, I do think eventually he'll say some stuff, but I think Mason's the kind of guy that'll slip up and say things without realizing that he's going to get clipped and it's going to get put out there, because Mason couldn't handle that before. And he went off of TikTok because of the trolling and the hate that he was getting, and some of the stuff he was saying was being clipped and put on there. So he left TikTok. So I don't think Mason's ready for what can come.
Well, I think that he's putting us up in. I think that if he handles things like how Matthew's handling things, he's putting us up in a really dangerous position, because I feel that when he goes to, if he does ever want to do an exposed situation, when he does that, if I was to hear that he played any part of anything that was like done wrong to Nick, I'm going to hold him accountable. Like, I'm not going to be like, thank you for being a whistleblower. I'm going to be like, dude, what the fuck did you just say? Like, it's going to jerk me like that. So I think he has to be extremely careful, and he needs to be as honest as possible, but also like, to me, like he could possibly lose any respect from all of us for those who do respect him.
Yep. And he says, and he has lost a little bit of respect too, because they did have that whole thing where a lot of people were sending money for that party, and they were sending it directly to Mason's Cash App and stuff like that. And then it was the videos of Nick when Nick didn't know, and the lying to Nick about it. So, Mason got some explaining to do, but is he going to do it? We don't know, but I'd say he's going to slip.
Well, I want to know who has that Nick Cash App too. And I do think that will come out. I think that that will come out. Yes.
Oh. Did people actually make money off that? Like, were people actually sending money?
Yes. Now, I don't have access to it, so I don't know what they sent, but I know people thought it was really Nick. From what I was presented with and told is that somebody was writing. I gotta be careful.
I was gonna say, watch your words, Jessica.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna retreat actually. So I'm going to back out of that. But I was just told someone was using it, and they were saying that with like, hey, this is Nick. I'm really in some trouble. Can you please help me? This is my Cash App. And then people were sending money thinking it was Nick. And then the messages were deleted out of Nick's phone. But I could be wrong on the, like, what is the thing that protects you for court?
I
have to say allegedly.
Allegedly, there you go. And it could be, hey, there's a lot of shady stuff that happens, and there is allegedly allegations of a certain someone messaging family members from people's phones that is in charge over there. So there's a lot of things that could come to light eventually, but there's shady things that happen all the time, in my opinion, over there.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Always allegedly.
I really want to. I wish Nancy's in here, so I know she's like recording, and I know she's gonna like get something from what Mason said in some way if he gave anything during his live. And I know that she like just recently talked about someone harming females, and I seen that video, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, have you all investigated that yet?
We're trying to look at, like, this was new to us, like when we found this out. Allegedly there's something to do with G-Man that was a resident at the house. Apparently he may be gone now, and that there was something to do with another resident, and that he allegedly has previous convictions of those type of things, and something has happened recently is what's being said. And I think Nancy put up that post, and it's on the Graceland Exposed page as well. So, like I said, more and more things are happening, and apparently another person, Anthony, is no longer there. You know, this is what I'm hearing, but apparently Anthony's no longer there either. So they're losing people, and if you can tell, at the end of all their videos, they're putting up their contact number as well, because they're trying to get more people in, because they're losing a lot of people as it keeps going.
Yeah, they need to fill those beds.
And there's a lot of scholarship people there, isn't there? Or is it Nick the only one?
I'm not sure who's on a scholarship.
Yeah, I'm not too sure on how many are on the scholarship or the apparent scholarship trust that Nick's money went to get more people there. We don't know. But more will come out, right? Who knows what Matthew's going to drop. Hopefully it's something good. Hopefully, I did see his strike t-shirt that you have to wear around the house. I did see a picture of him in that. I didn't know you actually had to wear a t-shirt when you were on a no contact type thing. But we will find out more when Matthew goes live.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. I know G-Man wasn't on a scholarship, so he was definitely paying to stay there. I mean, that's a lot of money wasted to share a bunk bed.
Yeah, a 3 high bunk bed.
Did you all see the video that was posted with Nick sitting there talking, and they're kind of like telling him like what he did wrong, what he did right, kind of thing like that?
Well, he phased up. So that was his phase up video. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, what did y'all think?
I mean, I don't know. There's not much to think about it. Like, I think they made good points to him. Like, you don't need to over-explain yourself. Like, just say what's on your mind and leave it at that. And that's obviously by them showing like multiple people talking about it. You know, he's had an issue with physical distance with other residents, and he's on a program for that. That's something he needs to learn, to respect boundaries, and maybe, you know, the whole just over explaining himself all the time might be driving the other residents a little cuckoo.
Yeah, Nick seems different. That's what I'll say. Nick seems different. It's not the Nick we're used to seeing. You know, and I don't know if that's, I'm on the fence if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, the good thing is he's not taking substances. That's the benefit. I'll give him that of where he's at. But my thing is too, Nick was having a really hard time there until Pat came back. So Nick was really getting like the strikes. Like they said tonight, he was writing like 20K words, stuff like that. It's all of a sudden when Pat came back, Nick has really skyrocketed to getting past that fourth step, getting past all of that, and having his phone back, and now he's clean shaven, and you know the podcast is about to drop. So it seems like when Pat came back, it was like then things started to happen where Nick was like, okay. So that's why I think that things are in place, as in Pat and Nick have had many sit downs as to what is going to happen in the future for Nick if he
Oh,
abides.
deals have been made. Deals have 100% been made.
Well, I do remember I talked to Nick and I said, Nick, do not sign nothing without a lawyer. I know that's not going to happen. But what I wanted to like plant in Nick's head a little bit was to go into it a little bit more guarded. Do not just sign something, read it. And I also told him, you are the talent. Like, unfortunately, and I know that you all don't fully agree with me that he's the star of the show, but he is the star of the show as far as making money. He's brought a lot of money in, and he is a big part of why people watch. So you don't feel like the first star, the second star, whatever. He's just he's in that, whatever.
Oh no, we agree. We agree
he's
that
the moneymaker. Yeah,
Nick
he's
is
the
that
moneymaker.
moneymaker. Nick is the unicorn. Like Pat said, Nick's his unicorn. That is his golden boy. That Pat's seen dollar signs the minute he met Nick.
Well, I know people didn't like me saying the star of the show when I said it before I got in trouble. Not with you guys, just in general. So I'm just saying, like, I didn't want to say the wrong word. But in my mind, he's the star of the show. He's the reason why I'm watching. So to me, he's the star from my perspective. But like, I think that, of course, they had meetings and they had conversations about business plans. And then, of course, with TikTok crashing and now you can't get subscribers, like, Pat's a businessman and he's also a scavenger. So he's going to fucking do what he got to do to make his money and to, like, you know, pay the bills and pay for whatever. So I think Nick being who he is, he's like, here's some thoughts, here's some ideas, here's what we should do. And if Pat actually listened to Nick, because Nick is like, I'm telling you, on the phone call that I had with him, the multiple phone calls, like he said ideas to me. Like he literally was like, who the fuck is Summer? Like that should be you. Like you're my actual friend. If you want to do a fucking update, like make an actual real update, I'll give you the update. You're my friend. You're like, you got my back. Take care of Mariah. My mom's good. Like these are the three people I care about. So if someone's going to like, you know, talk about me, fuck this girl, like you're my friend. And that's kind of like what he said to me, like in a conversation. So with that being said, there was more to it, but I know that he has a great brain. He's a little smarter, especially being sober, based on our conversation. So with that, I think that he would provide Pat with some ideas, and I think that he probably did a little bit of negotiation, I hope, for himself. Now, I believe Pat would, like, you know, of course, steamroll that or listen? Probably not. But I do think he probably went in a little bit more protected based on our conversation. Maybe. I hope so.
And I think like what Kay just said, that like Pat and Nick might clash, I think that's absolutely going to happen at some point because Pat and Nick are very, very similar. And right now, like this is just in my opinion, things are going great for Nick because it has to go great for Nick to get where he wants to go. But I think at some point down the road, because their personalities are so similar and because they're both very center of attention type people, I can
the bacon
see
in front of Nick's face right now. So imagine, say you have a dog, right? The dog's like excited. You put bacon in front of treat. The dog's going to be like, what? So I'm telling you, I think with what is in front of Nick's face right now, Nick is not going to bite that hand right now.
No, not right now.
I don't know, not right now.
Not right now, but I
don't know
mean,
how long he can keep it up.
Yeah, once he eats that bacon, once he's given that treat, and then he gets to where he wants to get, I think that eventually they could clash when Nick is at the stage of, say he is a house manager, say he is on the lives and doing whatever, when Nick realizes that he doesn't have to like work this program, he's out of the program, and then he starts seeing, wait a minute, I can actually do this on my own right now, and and he starts thinking about his own followers and all that. Sometimes it might hit his head that, hey, why is Pat making a lot more off this than I am even right now when I'm the one that rang all this in for him in the first place? Those ideas might start hitting him.
Yeah, what happens like if and when, like, say, subscriptions come back, right? What if Nick sees that Graceland are getting all these subscriptions and he's not, and he's having to perform like a monkey for the Graceland lives to get their money, and he's not, you know, his bank balance isn't being filled.
I think he's okay with that part. What I think, if we had to do speculation and just like what if things, I think it's going to be the day that Nick wants to do something and Nick has an idea, or Nick is told that this is going to happen, and then Pat shows that he's the alpha and doesn't let it happen, and Nick was promised something, that's how I think it would make them bounce off each other. But right now, pretty much everything that Nick's wanting, they're giving him, but he has to earn it. Like he had
They need to keep him there.
to get that phone. Nick had to earn that phone. Do not think for a second that that was given to him without major stipulations and mass hard work to get it. So to get that phone, when I tell you that man went through every fucking step to get it, he did.
And it's true. I look at it like a band, right? Like right now, Pat's the lead singer. Nick is like backup dancer, and he's gradually making his way up. He's going to be drummer. He's going to pass a few more steps. He's going to be bass. But eventually they're going to want to fight for lead singer of the band. And that's when the band breaks up. Like that's that's my analogy of it is that's when the band breaks up.
That's where I agree with you. That's how I think that could happen. But are we underestimating Pat? Because Pat could be a lot more smarter than that, and he would never let it get to that position.
No, he's not. I promise you, Jessica, he's not. He's just not.
No, I think here's where I think Pat's smarter. I think that Nick has definitely, hands down, signed some contracts already. And I think that Nick hasn't thoroughly read those contracts or had anyone look over, because right now he's trying to be the best boy Pat could ever ask for. So I think in those contracts, or whatever he has Nick sign, is going to protect Pat so Pat can make the most out of Nick possible. That's, in my opinion, what's already happened. So Pat is going to protect himself when it comes to, wait a minute, do you remember you signed this? So here's how this plan's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because Pat's not stupid like that. He knows how to get them in like that. He knows what to put in place so that if Nick does, Nick is a high flight risk. If Nick decides that he starts making money and then takes off, that Pat still is going to end up with a good chunk of the coin, even if they do clash and Nick takes off. I think Pat's already put things in place that he will still end up with a bit of the coin. But the other part is, if Nick were to leave right now, people would forget about all the Nick side would forget about Graceland. We'd be back on Nick again, and Nick would have the same, Nick subs would go back up, and people would be streaming Nick, and Nick would make money on his own, even if he were to leave right now. If he were to leave, it would be devastating to Pat, because there goes 75% of the money Pat's made in the past few months. There goes his unicorn.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I don't think Pat is going to let him leave. So I don't think that's even an option. But I don't know.
And the other thing that you need to think of too is Nick's lore was because of the crash outs, right? Because people were addicted to watching what's Nick going to do today. And Nick knows he's not he certainly knows that the more he acts up on camera, the more dramatic it is, the more intense it is. That's when he gets the most gifts, the most money, the most poor Nick, the most views. So you have to take into consider that too. So if Nick doesn't do the crash outs, and if it's a whole different Nick, where it's Nick on the straight and narrow and it's just Nick talking about sobriety, Nick's gonna feel the effects of people aren't gonna really want to watch that. That's the downside, because Nick's viewers have been built off of the crash outs of Nick, and the just insanity of watching things happen is the downfall of it.
Did you just see what Weenus just wrote?
Oh, yeah.
Manager. Oh, that's what I mean. These are what I'm saying. What Pat's not stupid. This is what's in place. Pat needs to be top dog. But that's where I think once Nick is at the place where him and Pat, he sees Pat as an equal and no longer top dog, and Nick says, wait a minute, you're making all this money off of me, and that hits Nick, that's when it's going to come to a head.
Well, you know what Pat calls himself, right? They call themselves the Wolf Pack. And what happens in a wolf pack, you always have a lead. And the others will fight. Yeah, the others will fight to be the alpha. They all have those. Have you noticed the symbol for Ridge Productions is the wolf, and they've a bunch of them have the tattoo, and they wear the merch, the hats with the wolves on them. That's all because they call themselves the Wolf Pack.
What's that movie, Jungle Book? What's the little boy's name?
Which
Mowgli.
Oh,
Mowgli. Have you seen the
Yeah.
movie where the it's about him and the wolf, the main father, has to fight all the boys, and then he goes out the fire to protect them because he knew that his dad's about to lose the battle, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like that means Pat would have to fight all those boys, kind of things, to remain alpha, to stay in control. That whole wolf pack idea. But I was gonna say this, reading on to that comment about the manager thing. So as a talent, I'll use my daughter like Lexi Love for an example. She's on MTV's RuPaul's Drag Race. So after they filmed the show, she had to find management. So when you're going through contracts and finding them, and this is just like this isn't like quoted. This isn't exactly what happened. I'm just giving an idea. But like when you're an artist and you get signed by a management, they're going to make money off of you. They get a percentage. So like say for example, she gets a booking for $5,000, they're going to get a percentage of that. Mm-hmm. So like the way I think it's going to be presented to Nick, and this is just an idea, I think he's going to say, hey, I'm going to be your talent manager. I'm going to, like Graceland, myself, I'm going to be, this is how it's going to go. This is a TV show. So you're the talent. So I'm the manager. I get a percentage, of course. You'll get a percentage, blah, blah, blah. You'll become a house manager. All this information that he can become and do. But I think it's going to be presented that way. So Nick's going to think, like, oh my God, I'm the talent. Like, I'm a star. Like gaslit a little bit to believe something kind of like that. So, like, that's going to be how it's going to be protected for Nick, I think. Or for Pat. For Nick.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. And that's what I mean about like the contracts and whatever. Guaranteed that stuff is already being set in place. There is no chance in hell that Pat will say, when Nick gets full control of his phone, that Pat will say, Nick, here you go live, do your thing, do what you want. There is no chance that Pat will let that happen without Pat seeing income from that.
Well, they could have also used the phone, like him having his phone back, right, as part of that leverage of him to sign some sort of deal. Here, we'll give you back your phone in stages. So at first, I think at the moment he's got his phone for a certain amount of hours a day. Jose said today, I don't want him to post. And Jose is now a house manager. Let's remember this. I don't want him to post, but he's not allowed to live stream, but he's allowed to have his phone for a certain amount of hours each day. So that's the first stage. The next stage, okay, maybe you're allowed to post, one post a day. Like, I don't know what the agreement is, but I'd say the phone has, because that's a huge leverage with Nick. So that could have been a huge part of the deal with Pat. You sign this, we'll give you your phone back.
So, a little side note, and I hope this will come out wrong if like Pat ever hears me say this, but like you have to understand, Nick knows nothing. Like he knows nothing. The day that he got the iPad, he's seen some stuff, and it literally was like, whoa, what the fuck? So everything that we know already, Nick is about to find out by looking at his phone. He's going to be looking at things. He's going to see videos. He's going to see posts. He's going to see comments. He's going to look at certain things. And imagine if you are Nick and you get your phone and you get to see everything that's happened in the last like 2 or 3 months. Like imagine what his brain's going to feel.
Oh, it's definitely gonna trigger something in Nick, because anyone that's previously watched Nick knows how affected Nick gets with the bad comments, with the Reddit, with everything, and that is a trigger for Nick. When he sees that, it's certainly going to do something in his head where he's going to feel a certain way about it, and that might trigger like a manic episode for Nick. Like, it's who knows what this is going to do, because even though Nick looks great right now and he looks like he's on the straight and narrow and all that, we can't forget that Nick has some serious mental health issues, and that can be triggered at any time. So no matter how good you're doing in life, no matter how great he thinks life is, at any time it can spiral. Nick can have a
we've seen
big
that in the
blow-up.
video when Mason was recording him. If you watch that video, like Nick was in his moment. He was having one of his fits. He was not having a tantrum like we know that he can like go into a full fucking tantrum. It was he wanted his phone and he wanted to know why it was 60 days. Like, and he was questioning, even though if he was right or wrong in his brain, he was using every tool he had to manipulate to get that phone after the 60 days or whatever. When he's seen that, if you watched him, and then the video when the police come in to do the welfare check, you can see how quickly he got just triggered. So what I was thinking today when I've seen that he came in the chat and has his phone, and Mariah told me, and we had our conversations, like, my fear is that trigger is going to like click off. So I'm a little worried that he's going to see certain things. And then what perspective is he going to see it from? Is he going to see everything Pat said before he went away? Is he going to see, like, you know, everything that I said, you said, everybody said? Like how is he going to take that, and what will his steps that he's learned on how to digest that? And that's a lot I think Pat should be ready for and be geared up for. Like, this could trigger him and set him back far. But I truly believe that that's probably already taken care of a little bit, based on me thinking about who Pat is and stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely, I mean, it's like I said, I don't think that everything is going to be as peachy and sunshiny as they're making it out to be right now. Like, here's Nick, and he's ready to go, and look, it's only been 60 days, but we bring him around. He's a whole new guy and all this.
He's in a very controlled environment right now,
Yes,
right? It's not real world. It's not what he's going to actually have to face.
And I think he's going to feel that a bit more when he gets this job, right? So he gets this job. He's not going to be monitored at this job. So he's going to have, that's the thing. He's going to have his phone. He's going to be out of this controlled environment and at work. And he's going to have breaks at work. And he's going to be checking his phone. And that's when no one's monitoring him. And that's when he might start to really get a little bit triggered about seeing everything, because no one's over his shoulder and monitoring what he's looking at on his phone or what he's doing, and nobody's there to stop him from doing anything, because then Nick is out of that controlled environment. So then what happens?
Start doom scrolling. You'll get stuck. Like, once you find one video, you find all the videos, right?
And then the comments, and then it goes up. But let me ask you guys, do you all think there is percentage, or do you feel there is a chance that Pat is doing this the right way, everything's going to be fine, and Nick's going to be fine, and this is actually going to work out to the benefit of Graceland, Pat, Nick, and like, they might have already thought of all these ideas, they already went through this whole process, they already had these conversations with Nick, and we're just like speculating on like the what ifs, but like what if the other what if is that it's not at all, it's already like, all these what ifs have already been accomplished and things are actually going to be a little bit better. Do you think there's a chance that could be a possibility?
Based on what we've seen from them, no, so far, no, they're not pre-planners. They run by the seat of their pants. It's exactly what happened with the downfall of the live streaming, right? They didn't think about it first. They just went into it. Exactly, Mariah. They're winging it. I don't think that they're pre-planners.
Okay. I want to just put that out in the atmosphere in case Pat was to listen. I want to make sure he always knows that I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. Even you guys are speculating, which means that we don't have a clue. There is a piece out there that maybe this could be already checked and, you know, whatever. So even in the speculation, there should always be a pro and cons and like a fair, balanced speculation situation. So that was more for me to be.
I don't think it's going to go as smooth as Pat thinks. I don't think, just from my previous experience of Nick, I don't think that Pat, I don't think it's going to go as smooth as Pat is hoping it's going to go right now. It's like the calm before the storm type thing, and Nick is idolizing Pat and it's all going his way, but I don't think that they are prepared for the what ifs. I don't think that they're prepared for Nick being in a non-controlled environment and what could happen. Or
And
when
they're
Nick...
also, no, you go.
No, go ahead.
They're also like, again, they're in a really controlled environment, right? They're not posting, they're not going live. So what happens when they start going live and posting videos and the comments, right? There are some really disgruntled viewers who felt very entitled because they were subscribed and they're very upset. I mean, we've seen what happened. Welfare check because a subscriber wasn't getting their fix of Nick. that person wasn't concerned for Nick's safety. They were upset that they'd paid for a subscription and didn't get what they paid for. So I think it'll be different when they're all very sheltered, you know, at the moment.
Do you know, can I tell you that I think if Nick sees that his people are getting screwed over, maybe I'm wrong, but I was just thinking, like, I don't know how Nick will even handle that his people, his community that he's worked so hard, negatively or positively, that support him or don't support him, the trolls or not trolls, like, I don't know.
I think that Nick is going to want to do his own thing. Nick is going to want to be on his own lives, as that's the thing, right? Nick is going to want his chat back, his bad chat back, his subs back, and all that. Like that's definitely going to happen. I think that Nick knows that majority of those people in the chat, and you can even still see it when they go live, majority of the people are asking, "Where's Nick?" So that's why they're there. And I think the minute that Nick goes live and the minute that Nick turns on his subs and all that, all those Graceland, all the people that are over in Graceland and have subbed to Graceland will be out of there quicker than anything and back over in Nick's lives. And Nick knows that, because Nick is the lore here. It's not Graceland for a majority of us. It's not. I could, and honestly, even with all the stuff, and this is as bad as it's going to sound, if Nick did leave Graceland, there's not a big, like, for me, it's like a I'd be more interested in what's going on with Nick than I would be interested in Graceland anymore if Nick left there, because Graceland's just a shit show to me. And because I come from the Nick side, not the Graceland side.
Well, I want you to know that what you just said, if Pat was to hear that, I hope Pat hears that and knows, like, you got to treat him good, because if you fuck with him and he leaves, like, you're going to be screwed. We're all going to leave. So if he wants to do well, he needs to make sure Nick's taken care of. So I hope that echoes in his ear.
And I think that's why he is getting a bit of that special treatment, is because if you got a unicorn, you have to make sure you're treating that unicorn well, or it's going to fly away.
Well, I'll tell you, Mariah, confirm this in the chat if you want to, or I can, like, kind of retreat a little bit. But I'll tell you, Nick has kind of been put through hell. Like, there's not a lot of gaslighting. It's a lot of some shitty shit that's happened that we can't even talk about. But, like, it's not that, if it was that good for Nick, things would be a little bit different. But it's been really hard because of some things that, like, I don't know.
Yeah, but here's the thing too. He's still not getting mental health help. He's still not, right now, he's just in this glow and protection of almighty Pat and Graceland, and everything seems great. But he still has no tools to deal with his past trauma. He still has no tools to deal with incoming trauma. He still has no tools to deal with real life, to deal with the internet and all that. Right now, he's so protected by Pat and this shelter of Graceland around him that he's feeling fine, because he doesn't have to deal with all the bad that real life has to offer him. But he also doesn't have those tools because he's not getting any mental health help. He's just getting follow Pat's lead help.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's also getting, like, you're a bad boy, go sit in the corner, like that kind of thing, which then makes you want your father's approval even more.
Absolutely. And Nick looks for that approval. That's what Nick needs. Nick loves that approval, especially from males. Nick looks for that approval. I think it's something that he hasn't had in his life too much, and that he looks for that approval. He looks for that you're doing great. He looks for those affirmations from people so he can feel better. And that's why I think that's why he's getting that special, oh, Nick, you're doing awesome, and you know, you're just doing amazing and all that. But what happens when real life hits and there isn't people around to tell you how great you are all the time and that you're doing a good job and stuff? Then what do you do when all that's taken away? And unless he has those tools, Nick, as good as he's doing, is going to fall back into old patterns as soon as he doesn't have that protection of Graceland, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree. Chad, if you have anything else you want to add to that, we can go to the next topic. So what I was going to do is I wanted to kind of play the video of Nick that they posted with him talking and, like, them all talking with him. I wanted to see what you all thought about some of the body languages and then some of the words that were used, and then some of Nick's reactions and kind of see what you all thought, and then see what the chat thought about the live the video if they didn't see it. So I watched it like 10 times. The last girl,
Maddie,
I think so.
the dark-haired girl, or Ali? I think it's Maddie.
Dark-haired girl at the end.
Maddie, yeah.
Hold on, I'll show it. Here it comes. Her.
Oh, that's Ali.
So one thing I will say about this is, in my opinion, from what I've seen with Allie, is Allie's a very much, and she's admitted sometimes herself that she enjoys male attention. And and you can see when she's around the men in the house, even Paul and Graham and all this, and even Nick in previous videos of Graceland with her, she very much is sucking up to sucking up's not the right word, but very much
appeases.
Appeases all the guys in the house. So she's the type of girl that's going to tell you,
Do you see that notification?
That's fake. That's fake.
That's a fake account. Yeah, it's a fake account.
When I tell you that just fucked me up.
No. It's an account. It's not actually a notification.
Oh, they, that motherfucker.
They go around
doing
it.
Good.
But Allie acts like that because she's going to tell everybody how great they're doing and all that, because she has even admitted herself that one of her downfalls is that she seeks out male attention. And that's one of her, so her acting like, oh, we've seen such a good change in you, Nick, and it's been great. But she is very male attention hungry.
She's very young. I think she's
very
24.
young. Yeah, very impressionable.
Very, very young.
All right, so I'm gonna play the video. Then I can pause at pieces, or we can review. Let it play it all out, then review. What do you all think is better? Should I pause at places?
It's up to you.
Well, you all let me know. Chat too. Like, what do y'all think? So should we just play it all out? It's 2 minutes long, which I think is a long time for us to like watch.
What do you guys want to do? Do you want to watch it all, or do you want to dissect it?
Pause it at places.
All right.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so this is the reason why I'm doing this. I'm promoting Graceland on my platform to tell everybody to go over and check them out, watch these videos, comment, like, show them love or support or non-support, whatever you want to do. But I'm of course using my platform to speak about Graceland in a positive way. So my commentary or our commentary is not going to be to bash them, but it is freedom of speech, and it's all like a legend, and we're just kind of just talking. But of course, go watch them, give them the views, and comment all that good stuff. So I'm not taking from them. I'm just adding a little bit to the sauce. Does that make any sense what I just said?
Yes.
I'm trying so hard. I hope you all know.
I know you're doing good. You're doing good.
Okay.
It's one of the advantages and reasons for getting off restriction. Being able to be of maximum service with the chores and structure during the day, I want to take on more responsibility in the house. What is your commitment to the house and its members? My commitment is to stay sober no matter what, and love and care about my brothers and sisters, and add value to this community through being consistent with attitudes and actions that uphold an atmosphere of recovery and graduate the house. How do you view getting off restriction, and why? It's absolutely a privilege and a contract of trust. I only want it if my house feels that I earned it.
He needs to be on like a 3 sentence.
Okay.
Can I give my honest opinion? Nick loves a buzzword, right? So it's not even that his words, they're just like he throws these buzzwords in, and he's like a little kid with a school assignment. Like, he's so proud that he's got these words written down, and he's like presenting to the class.
Yes.
No, so I will tell you, like, Mariah will tell you, like, so Nick is not the best. How do I say this right? Like, he's like, when he's not educated, because he is educated, but like he's not the best at writing, and he has to really put a lot of thought into it. So I think he is also proud, writer. I think he's really proud to read what he writes. So if someone helped him or not, I think there is a little bit of proudness behind him reading something with those big words like you're just pointing out. But go ahead.
And I think that was very, he definitely had help 100% with writing that out, because obviously cameras are going to be set up and all this, and that's known. And I think he definitely had help with writing that. And he's probably heard previous people too on their speeches when they've, moved further in the house. So, but that was definitely help. That wasn't from Nick directly. I don't think that was written just from Nick.
So chat, y'all have anything you want to add, and we can add before we go to the next part. The next part's where they're going to all add their opinion based on what he just said. So overall, what do you think he just said?
I don't know. There's just a lot of words there, and it was just I'm happy to have phased up. He could have just said, "I'm really happy to be phased up," but he said all those words.
I think he got a pat on the back, and they said. They patted back and said, "Good boy."
Yes. Yeah. It was said like Graceland would want it said.
Yeah.
He's a very good boy. All right, I'm gonna round this a little bit so we can start right where the girl starts talking.
I only want it if my house feels that I earned it.
He needs to be on a 3-sentence deal when he explains shit. His narrative, pretty much.
So I said the exact same thing downstairs the other day, did I not? And you know who gave me the best advice on that? Zach, when I over-explain shit, dude, that words start to lose value the more you say them, dude. You don't have to have an explanation for everything, dude. You can just relax and let things be the way they should. Not everything needs an input, not everything needs an explanation. So with that being said, though, you probably have made the best improvement comparatively. Someone who fucking had how many words accumulate? Over 20K in small strikes accumulate? That's the craziest thing I've ever fucking seen. But you...
Thoughts?
It was positive. They're saying he's made the most progress they've seen someone in the house make in a short time, especially because he got a lot of words for small strikes. It wasn't even he got a big strike or a really big cross against his name. It was going to the toilet, not shutting the door, leaving his shoes. It was always leaving his shoes on the carpet. I think he got some strikes as well for his not recognizing social distancing in a group setting, put it that way. So, yeah.
I do think it was a part of him trying to convince to phase up, yes. So I think whoever helped him write it and whatever he was trying to present, that's what his purpose was, Lala. I think that this guy was telling the truth. I think he really did see him go kind of through hell to fight his way to get there. And Nick does over-explain. He does overdo all those things. I think he really was kind of spot on explaining the situation.
And I think even with the two guys they have up there, they've done it in a smart way to have the two guys up there with Nick that are some of the couple of guys that are the least problematic in the house. If they were to have Zach up there, people have stuff to say about Zach. We know Zach's not the greatest guy, stuff like that. So I feel like it's very staged to make it look as great as it can because all the cameras are set up with the two most non-problematic guys in the house as well. Everything has a reasoning of how this is played out.
So if I was a director and I was trying to put together a Netflix TV series, a reality TV show, that's exactly how I would plant it based on what I was trying to get the message out as, which I think this whole concept of the video is to show that Nick is progressing. So based on that, if they put anyone like Teapot's saying, if someone was there that's problematic in any kind of way, then it's not going to be as convincing as why he's getting the privilege of having his phone and things like that now, why the progress is for real. If someone was combative, then they might question then why is he getting these privileges then?
Exactly.
Yeah. So we all watch reality TV show. We know how it's all set up. We know that it's not all fake, but it's staged a little bit on how to go. So I do agree with both of you. All right, next part. Here we go. Let me turn my filter off.
Overcame that and look at the strike board now. You're not on it for anything, dude. So your improvement is astounding. Run it.
When you first came into this house, your main focus was your phone, and your main focus was seeking validation from the house. Since then, you have made the biggest improvement in this house since I have been here. You have pushed your capabilities far beyond what you even could have imagined. You have become much more authentic, not only with yourself and with others.
and I'm really proud of it.
The Nick you were when you came into this house versus the Nick you are now is crazy. It's fucking crazy. Like, I am so proud of you. Like, how Maddie said, like, with the words thing, you got that fire under your ass and you were ready to go. I'm just so proud of you.
I want to give everybody hugs. Good morning.
Okay.
Was Keaton reading? Like, was his part scripted as well? Because it looked like Keaton was reading from a page in front of him. So, like, it was like the whole thing was scripted.
And do you realize that all of it is positive, though? And at the end of this video, they show the number to Graceland. There is no one in that video that says, well, you know, I'm feeling this way about it or whatever. Everything is very, oh my God, you 60 days, look what Graceland has done. Nick, you're doing amazing. And here's the number to Graceland if you want to be just like us.
And exactly right, T. It's not about what Nick's done. It's look what Graceland's done for Nick.
Mm-hmm.
The girl at the end, the way she keeps looking down, looking around, looking over for approval, like that was I'll tell you, when I watched it like 2 or 3 times earlier, she was the part I left with like, what the fuck? Like it almost seemed so, and now I know more about it because you all shared a little bit, but like that's the part that kind of fucked me up. The 2 guys, I felt like they were like sent to do a job, so they were just doing what they were told to do kind of thing. I didn't know if they were reading it, but I did feel that it was like they were doing their job. Now, before we get into the last part, Nick's body language, how did you all feel about that from the beginning to the end?
The one part I do love, which I'll say is true Nick character, is the whole jacket drop down to the side so his muscles are showing a little bit. That is 100% set up by Nick because we all know Nick and his muscles. So that's not an accident, 100%. Yeah, that little that whole muscles out shirt drop, that's genuine Nick right there. That part.
Well, I'll say that, like, if you watch the video before where they're out at dinner or whatever like that, Nick talks about, like, image. And he's like, no, it's about getting sober.
Yeah.
So, like, he is... Does anyone think?
Oh, 100% he did.
100% Mariah. I guarantee he guaranteed he at least asked you, like, do you see how good he's looking? Or, like, I guarantee there was some sort of flex or face pose while you're talking.
He would have opened up the camera and the first thing wouldn't have been hi, it would have just been posing and staring into the camera.
My next question is, did Nick look at himself on the face call? Did he have like his picture bigger or Mariah's picture bigger?
His, for sure. His
100% is. He was like, Nick is doing the like beeping peep, you miss daddy type shit. Like Nick was definitely looking at himself like, you see what you're missing. I could picture what the FaceTime was and just Nick doing a couple face poses, doing the, can you see my muscle? Like just, yeah.
Probably like Mariah, like, how you doing? Can you see my muscles though? Can you see my muscles?
Mariah, this is too personal. You don't have to answer again. Just avoid this question. But like, so on all the calls we've had before, like it's been like, am I okay? Am I okay? And also there's people all around. So he's trying to sneak to speak to us. And he's like, kind of like a moment alone to say something. Did you feel less, did he seem a little bit less scared? Less reassured, like, please reassure me? So that's the first question. Did he seem less did he need reassurance? And then also, with it being on his phone and not on the home phone, was he able to get a little more privacy? And did he seem a little different compared to the phone calls before to this phone call? Like, did he seem like
more relaxed?
Like more privacy? Well, like on the phone, like he would talk in like one tone of voice on the phone before. So like he was like, Jessica, like I'm really kind of like nervous about like this and that, and he would like talk with just like this kind of tone. It was never like super excited. It was never like sad. It was like very like
just trying to keep his voice low,
but also very like sketched. It wasn't the Nick that we know from TikTok. That's what I'll always say. And I think Mariah and I agree that we both love that part because it's not the character that he plays sometimes. it's like the real Nick finally. So I was just wondering on FaceTime with him having like his phone back for a second, did it change to where he became Nick the character a little bit on the call, or was he still the Nick that we talked to before? Nick is Nick, put it that way. Okay. More private. Okay, got it. Thank you. All right, so this is the last part of the video to wrap it up. This is Nick basically wanting to say, like, he wants to give him hugs and all that stuff. Hold on one second. Okay.
What are the advantages and reasons for getting off?
The Nick you were when you see you. Like, I am so proud of you. Like, how nice, like, with the words thing, you got that fire under your ass and you were ready to go. I'm just so proud of you.
I want to give everybody hugs, but I'm on a program.
What are the advantages and reasons for getting off restriction?
Okay.
It's you know, it's just very all staged the way they need it to look and the way they want it to look. They like everything is very scripted. Everything is like helped with whatever they're saying and all that. Nobody's saying anything negative, and it's very how they need it to look right now to try to make Graceland look positive and how much Nick has grown type thing. And look at us and here, like I said, here's the number, call us, we got some beds for you too type thing.
My opinion, that was the last part is the only part where I really seen the Nick that I used to watch all the time, and like old clips. It kind of felt a little bit like his self for a second. Like he had to play the script. This once that girl talked, the script kind of ended. What they played that last part, he was no longer from a script. It was no longer like a concept that they had to play out. It was like, I would hug you guys, and that was like Nick more being himself. But of course, I will tell you, like, Mariah and I both kind of shared to him, like, we know that you're very, like, over huggy and over touchy. Do not do it there. Any kind of allegations against you will be horrible. I know Mariah stressed that to him. I know he already had that thought in his brain. But, like, to hear him even say that, that means he's thinking that he has to be very careful. Like, even a hug could be perceived. So that tells me that the biggest Easter egg, the biggest bombshell in that whole video was that last part. And I think if you all watch that last part one more time and you think about what that means, and like, if you ever, like, from what I understand from Mariah, I never actually met him in person, but if you watch old videos too, like, he's very touchy. Like, even with some of the old lives on Graceland, you can see him kind of like setting very close, like almost too close to some of the people. So
he has no personal boundaries. Like, Nick doesn't see personal boundaries or like personal people space and stuff. I mean, Nick was randomly hugging people at bus stops, you know, like he's that type of, I think the only two authentic things about that whole video for me was when he said, I wish I could hug everybody, and him showing off his muscles with the shirt dropped, with the jacket dropped. I think that was the only two real authentic Nick moments in those videos. The rest of it is very well scripted, very well how Graceland wanted it to be.
And if that's what they're doing, like this, to sell, to like, get new customers or new guests or new whatever hotels people want. They want like guests, right? So it was very like, come stay at our hotel. Like it was definitely a good selling commercial. I would probably, if I watched that and didn't know nothing, I might want to send my son there that's going through recovery or something like that. So I think he got his point across in the marketing scheme of things.
And when they put these videos out fully, I can guarantee you that they're going to clip these videos with a before and after. They're going to have little clips of Nick's worst breakdowns and how bad he was at his worst. And then they're going to go back. Then they're going to clip it with how great he's doing now. Like, look at, this is amazing. This is the place for you. Like, this is the before and the after. They're definitely going to mix in that.
They might even like clip those lives when he first met Pat on live, right? When Nick was, I think we can all say that he was at his worst. Like he was not doing well. And then put that together with like him now.
Being able to be a
I wanted to add something really quick if you would let me, or if you all are down to look at one thing. So whenever he gives Nick the tiny diny, have you watched that video and thought about that video a little bit?
Yep.
Okay, I just want to play one spot for you guys really quick, and then I want to get your all's opinion. 1 second. So the reason why I put is I want you to think about Nick, the character that we watch in this, and he's like tiny diny, and like that whole part. Hold on, I'm gonna get to my point in 1 second. Is it this video?
Right now is that, like, in any other scenario, I would health and he was just before weeks to get told.
No, that's not it. Where's the one with the video, the tiny diny? There it is.
Since you guys haven't been on TikTok for a long time, we got you guys a little present. So here's your tiny diny.
Oh man.
It's tiny
Tiny. Let's go, chat. Let's go, chat. Tiny Donnie.
Neither of us have received these in 2 months.
It's been a while.
It's been like a while.
I've never gone this long without a phone or without TikTok since I started.
This.
Okay. The reason I brought that up is Nick with Patrick.
Read what Kay wrote above. Pat tried to say it was something they've both haven't had.
And with that video, here's the thing. Pat is already trying to make it look like to Nick, like when he says, we haven't had this in how long? And he's already trying to make we are both the same. That Pat understands everything about Nick because we haven't had this, Nick. We've been off social media. He's trying to group Nick into, you are just like me and I understand you and that's why I can help you the most.
Yeah, I can help you as well because, well, I too have just had to go to treatment for social media. So let me now show you the way out of the darkness. I will save you.
That little tiny part. That little part when that tiny diny came out, I'm telling you, I analyzed that as if I was watching a fucking surgery. Like, it was like intense. I was watching like it was Nick's comfortability to kind of go into character with him there, because Nick didn't get to actually be in character with him too much in person. Am I wrong? Or so he kind of came up with this vulnerable little boy that was like sized up. As soon as he walked in, as soon as they walked up to each other, Pat immediately was the alpha. You're so little. Like, oh my God, you're so much littler than I thought.
Yeah.
To a man that works out, like in the industry of working out, Nick already is going to know that he's short. Cool. But when a guy walks up and he's the alpha and he's like, you're so little and I'm so big, it immediately set the tone of the relationship. Within how much time Pat was gone? So they didn't really get to form that relationship of comfortability. So my point is, since Pat's been back to that video, that tells us, based on Nick being nervous about Pat coming back, about Madison posting that Pat's coming back and she was scared and shit and bricks everywhere, like freaking out. Look how comfortable he was to go into character with him, and he's the alpha. So like if your dad walks in and you don't know the vibe, it could be whatever, like are you going to fully like act out like you would your friends, or would you be more like, my dad's watching, I gotta be on my best behavior? So like to me, if he was in fear, or he was like trying to get his approval, or if he had to even he had to play a character or whatever, like, and he was told to get ready for this video is what to hit play, to me a little bit like what it told me is they are really comfortable. Pat has really planted every bit of like. Are you getting my point? What I'm making?
Well, see, and also in that video, the part that I see is that when that tiny diny comes out, you see Nick get excited, right? You see that because right away, that's a trigger for Nick. That's excitement. Tiny, tiny, that word. So right away, Nick starts to get excited. But Pat almost shuts it down to bring it back to Pat. As Nick's excited, Pat starts talking. As soon as Nick's doing the tiny, tiny, Pat says, so Nick, like this is what I mean. We haven't had this. Instead of letting Nick have that moment, Pat had to bring it back to himself to let Nick know, like, hey, this isn't about you right now. Like, this is about us. Like, this is an us thing right now, Nick. Like, don't forget where you are.
So scenario, you have a son. This is a scenario. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if you have a son or not. But like, so your son, you come home, you're like, guess what? I got you a new toy. Did you clean your room? Are you in your best behavior? All right, here's your toy. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I know I put it in your hands, but wait a minute. Let me take it back. You did not fold your clothes in the laundry. And the little boy's like, ah! And then like, oh, no, I didn't fold. Let me go fold it really quick. Like, to me, there was like a definitely a father-son, like, yay. Oh.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. And like, and for Pat to even try to make that about himself, the whole tiny diny thing, that's about Nick. That is about Nick altogether. The tiny dinies is something that's for Nick. That has nothing to do with Pat. But Pat put himself in that too, to make sure that Nick knew we are just alike, buddy. Like we're on the same journey here. I understand you. You're gonna get better because I know how you feel because I was you, man. Like I get
Stop
it.
it.
And that's Pat's mirroring behavior.
Yeah.
All right, so there's this video I want to play to end this. Do you all know like the Call Her Daddy podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, so Aubrey O'Day was on there, and she speaks about how groomers work.
Mm-hmm. He fired me.
Hold on 1 second.
How rebellious somebody would want to fire somebody, not talent-wise, but in other.
I gotta find this exact clip for you guys. 1 second. I make my point, then we can wrap it up. So she talks about how.
You know, I have such a love-hate with it all because your relationship with Pauly D. Let me tell you, my life took a big
Shit, I can't find it exactly, but I'm gonna find it in a second. And you all can talk while I look. But she talks about how the grooming works and how like P. Diddy groomed her, how he groomed all of his people. And I'm not saying that Nick is being groomed. I'm just trying to put forth so everybody understands how that works. They come in and they're the hero, they save you, and then they do each little tactic to get full control of you. And then after they get full control, then something else happens. So if I can't find a clip, that was my point. If you all understand where I'm going with that.
Oh, 100%. They tell you what you need to hear, right? They tell you everything that you want to hear, and that's great about you. They get you where they need you to be, and then where they can come in and snatch you up because they've built you up. They've built you up so much that you think, oh, like this person really fucking sees me for who I am, and you start to appreciate them, and then all of a sudden that's when it switches, when you've been groomed, when you've fallen for the bullshit.
God, I want to play this clip for you guys so fucking bad. I'm trying. I'm so sorry. And my dog's eating food, so I'm trying to fucking cover up sounds with music playing so you don't hear her chewing. God. Sis, don't you want to say something, sis, over there? Sis, come on.
Sorry. No, I was just dealing with my child.
But there's definitely Pat knows how to groom. Pat has all the behaviors of someone that could groom somebody.
Well, I think it's like, I don't want to say like Pat is the groomer. I'm not saying that. Gotta be very careful. But I'm just saying I want you all to understand like what that means. If I can just find this one fucking clip. I feel like you're really good. Could you find Aubrey O'Day, Call Her Daddy clip about grooming? Anybody? The guy, Evil is like an expert.
Is it on TikTok?
Yeah, there's a bunch of clips, but I'm looking for this one.
Hello. Hey, Ashley.
Hi, baby.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. What, you guys don't like Hypercrush? Wild.
You don't like punk rock, Pat?
It's not even a punk rock band. That's the thing.
When
Hypercrush is not punk rock.
It reminds me of what was that LMFAO band?
Yeah, but isn't it
Pat's.
funny? Because isn't he upset because LMFAO did better at that genre than he did? It ruined him.
I was never like more surprised when I seen what Hypercrush sounded like. It was not what I was expecting.
No, I expected like a full like Blink-182, Millencolin type punk rock band, and no, it was not that.
Yes, Kay.
Yeah.
They're very good at manipulating. Both very. There's a lot of similarities in Pat and Nick's behavior when they're separated. Like just seeing a lot of the mirroring behaviors of others, a lot of the manipulation, a lot of gaslighting. They both are very similar in a lot of ways.
Jessica's focus. If you want to make it, you'll shut your mouth. Worth as a woman through the men that I was around, and that was very traumatic. I don't think any of us have healed from that. Daddy would be like, "You're not hot anymore. Like, what happened? You don't have anything. Like, you don't have any curves. You're looking like you're not looking like, I can't get people to think that you're my good-looking person." And there was no Me Too at that time. There was no protecting anyone at that time. You signed 1 million NDAs and 1 million contracts that took away all your rights.
Should I ask you the golden question?
What's the golden question?
Nothing. You keep mentioning Diddy. I wanted to ask you about the whole thing with Bad Boy. He got all his. He gave.
I'm gonna find the other part. 1 second.
Miss Yomi, I think it's both. It's a podcast, but there's a video of the podcast.
It's going to be like what Pat's going to do for his podcast, like have it as a listening, plus he's going to film it and have it as a video.
Oh, 100%.
Blog. So this is long after we have 2 double platinum albums, $14, $15 an album from 2 million albums is, what is the math on that? 48 million?
Yeah, something like that. I'm a mathematician, but maybe.
So $48 million somebody made on me.
Yeah.
I did not make anything. When I said I did Christina Aguilera for free, I didn't do Christina Aguilera for free, but the record label recouped it.
My point of that is, when you realize you're making someone a lot of money, in what you talked about earlier, there's this grooming part I'm trying to get to, and I know it's coming any second, but I want to show you little clips. When she's talking about this business and like the signing the contracts, when you sign those contracts, you cannot say a fucking word.
Yeah.
So.
And that's why they're smart like that, right? They've been shit-hauled over social media, Graceland has. So they've definitely critiqued these NDAs and stuff to the point where people aren't going to be allowed to talk, like, at all. I don't think that Nick will never talk. I don't think that Nick will give a shit if he ends up leaving there. I think he'll sing like a canary. It's Nick. But Nick can also fall back on that he has mental health issues and that he can have that as a fallback if he does sing.
Yep.
And it's like when they had them sign the NDAs when they got there, and then we had questioned Pat on whether or not, like, did Nick sign this NDA? And then Pat realized, we said, well, he wasn't sober then when he signed it. And then all of a sudden, though, Pat got the smart idea, and he's like, well, you know what? I'm actually going to get them to re-sign it. And then so he got them to re-sign it because of that, because people were realizing, is Nick even sober when he signed that first NDA?
Well, and they changed the policy now, haven't they? So it's like they don't sign the NDA until they've been there for 7 days or something, or 14 days.
Yep.
Well, good to know they've got some standard operating procedures in place, finally. Yeah, Nick has no money, and I mean, we've seen him get in trouble with the law. It doesn't stop him. He doesn't really care.
What are they going to sue him over? Like, well, you can't give what you don't have. So, and it's not like he has like property or vehicles or anything like that he could. I mean, suing Nick would do nothing. Nick's going to sing either way.
Well, Nick doesn't even have property that they could claim. Like, he doesn't own anything.
They can make your dreams come true. It's very much, it's grooming.
Wrong
It's very
podcast.
much like what the military does. They break you down to make you what they need you to be. An abuser will never abuse you on day one. They push you a little bit. They talk to you a little rougher. Then they grab your arm a couple times. They get a little more forceful. They nudge you. They poke at you, and then they get into your head that you're problematic. You're a problem. And you need somebody that's real, that will tell you like it is and get you in line. And when you find that person, that's when you'll know you're really cared about and really loved. And when you are so young and you have a child, when you are so young, you see how quickly kids pick things up and how quickly you start to understand the world. When you are at a young age and you're being groomed, and like I said, America grooms us. So there's all kinds of issues that were, instilled in all of us that we are not even aware of until you leave. But specifically in this setting, an abuser grooms you in that manner so that when they finally do violate you in a serious way, all of that to me is serious though, frankly. When grooming is serious. But when they violate you in a assault way, it's people like I was told that you kind of took pause on Cassie's story because it's 11 year.
So my point is just that you ought to hear someone that's went through it and went through absolute hell, and now she got kicked to the curb, and then Pity gets exposed, and now she's getting a little bit of a platform, and her story's being told more. But like, the serious manipulation that goes into grooming is gigantic. And so what I seen whenever the Tiny Donnie was presented, and then Nick went from being like, ah! And then in the video, it's so scripted. And in the very end, we're like, well, I can't hug anybody. But like, I'm just seeing like their relationship is way better than I thought.
Yep.
True. I mean,
all that for that. Sorry.
No, we get what you're saying, but it is a lot of, grooming can be in a whole bunch of different aspects, right? It's not just with children; it happens with adults all the time. It happens all across the board, and I certainly think that Pat knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing to get Nick where he needs to be, for him to make the most money and Pat wise. And I mean, you got to think of it this way. Are you seeing all the other residents and stuff being filmed as much as Nick now and all this stuff being... No, because, and this is a harsh reality, no, majority of the people do not care. And this, I hate to say it in such a harsh way, they don't care about what else is going on. Because if they did, they would have been there before when Nick wasn't around being like, oh, let's see residents and let's see all this. No, and that's why Nick is the shining star and these videos are out. And they're all of Nick because that's what people want to see. That's what's going to make Pat the most money because nobody knows really anybody else that's there. Nobody else. The majority of people right now are waiting to see the Nick drops.
Even
go ahead.
The other day, a couple of days ago, that video you mentioned before where he was talking about health and diet and Pat corrected him, right? That was Nick out with Evan, Blue, and Pat. Graduates and owner, whatever Pat calls himself. There were no other residents there. Why is Nick going out with graduates and the owner What about the other residents? Are they all getting taken out for dinner?
And that's Nick being the unicorn that Pat needs. That's them giving Nick that like extra special attention because they know that out of all of them, Nick is the one they're going to make the most money off here. And that's why they're getting him the special attention so Nick doesn't fly away.
Yeah, but I think never mind. I'm not going to add too much, but
thank you.
Thank you.
But also, like, when you go to that place and you're in recovery, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so like Aubrey mentioned a minute ago, like a kid, right? So like even though we're adults, we're all went through our personal journeys, but like in a way they're re-teaching him. It's almost like a childlike relearning. Like I'm not that I'm less than, but you've been broken down so hard. You went through so much fucking shit. You put your family through so much stuff. You lost everything. And you're trying to find yourself again. You're going through recovery. So in a way, like you're at a most vulnerable state, which is very similar to childlike vulnerability. Possibly, I could be wrong. But like that is the most, if you are a manipulator or if you're a groomer or if you're someone that could be dangerous, like those are the perfect people to go after.
Absolutely. And you're completely vulnerable when you go to a place and you have no money. You have nowhere else to go. You're at your most vulnerable state that you're easily manipulated. You're easily controlled because in your head, this is the end all be all. It's either make it or break it. And you need to make it here because you have nothing else. And that's what they put in your head there is that this is it. This is you have nothing and we're going to help you have everything. And you need to abide by this and do this and say this and whatever to get to that point. But of course, that you're so vulnerable when you get there that you're going to listen to whatever and you're going to want what's around you, this mansion, this ideal that he has put in front of him of, this studio and filming houses and all that. And whatever it takes to get there in your head, you're going to do it.
Yep. And what Ash said as well, Ash said, when I was first in recovery, I was willing to listen to anyone to change my life. And, as T pointed out, Nick had nothing. So he's entrusted himself with those people. He's going to listen to whatever they have to say.
And when he went there, he did not have Mariah. He did not really. He had me on the phone, like when I streamed with them, but like as far as like the night that he slept, like that probably was the most vulnerable situation he had with me to test my trust and to play it back and watch it to see what my true person was. Because I could have like clout jumped on that. I could have been like, he's sleeping, everybody follow me. I could have showed who I was if that was my character. But developing my relationship with him, going there, he really walked in the door with not really anybody. He called Mariah a couple, weeks later or days later. He called his mom, I think a couple weeks later to get the birth certificate or something like that. So I know that there was interaction with family and then with me. But like, there was a moment where he was that vulnerable where he had literally had nothing. Like night one, no one.
And there's a lot of isolation that happens too. So they make you, when you don't have a phone, when you don't have contact with the outer world, and they make you isolated, right? So whatever you're seeing around you is your reality. And that's how they make you feel that they're there for you. And that's why they monitor calls and that's why they're over your shoulder and all that, because they want to isolate you to the point where they're your family all of a sudden. Like they're your reality and they're your family and they're the ones that got your back. They want to make you feel like that.
With that being said, mentally note, and this is like, again, I'm not bashing, I'm just speaking out loud. We're just speaking like allegedly and like just ideas. What Teapot just said is the most crucial part of my point. Will you just speak on that little part one more time?
Oh, just that, like the isolation aspect of it.
So, having Nick not be able to call his mom, Mariah, or myself for that 2 weeks or however many days that was, Imagine what happened in that crucial time. He was used to calling Mariah 3 or 4 times a day. Call me, call his mom if he needed to for a support system, right? So they took all support system away. They then came in and like fixed whatever damage and break in and say, you have me. You don't need to call Mariah. Call me. I'm here for you. I got you, brother. Like, I'm here with you. Like, you're okay. Like, you don't have to call Mariah to ask if you're okay. I will tell you you're okay. Like, I will be here to support you. I'm your rock. I got you. So that's a little bit manipulation tactic to really move in, take his core group of people he trusts the most, take them out, take over that spot. And then now you got ultimate control because now he knows that myself, Mariah, I don't want to say his mom. I don't want to speak on that part. It's a very delicate topic, but like I want to say, like, I'm assuming, I've always been told it's the 3 of us. So I'm including her based on the letter 3, the words 3 of us or whatever. But like, I want to mainly focus on Mariah and I. Now Mariah and I have to be so fucking careful. Mostly Mariah. Like if I lost phone calls with him, that would be shitty as fuck. But I will not let Mariah lose that phone call for whatever I had to do in my life. Me losing it, like, it would suck. I would hate it. I want to check on him. I'm very invested in his life and my friendship with him. But like, if I had to go in the front lines to fight for him, I would risk that if I had to. But Mariah absolutely cannot. And but to have that power over us, and then to have those 2 weeks of having power over him. But to have that power over us, and then to have those 2 weeks of having power over him, they're setting. We cannot think that it's like just him, like just being a gambling man. There is a lot of strategic plays and steps going into what's happening today. But I am scared to death that this could be twisted. Huh? Sorry.
What Chuka said, it's coercive control.
Well, I am in control. Like I'm being
Not
controlled.
you. What they're doing to Nick is coercive control.
But it's a side effect of. Isn't Mariah and I a part of that?
But it's very. You have to think it's very cult. This is where the cult-like behavior of why people say Graceland is cult-like, because in cults they take you away from your family, right? They make you think that the people that you're around in that cult is your family, and the people on the outside, they don't love you as much as them, and they make you think that. And when the people on the outside start talking negatively about a cult and whatnot, then you're X'd out altogether. It's do not speak about them because they're speaking bad about us, and we're great. Look what we're doing here, and look what we've done for you. What have they ever done? Type thing. And that's how this is so monitored, so isolated, and how he's so easily manipulated when he's taken from the people that he knows, and that interaction is gone and monitored when it happens.
My friend Womble, he's my TikTok manager. He he's a part of the agency that I'm in. He's my agent. He just said, have you all seen that Netflix documentary about the TikTok dancer? Like, holy shit, that was a cult. That's scary as fuck.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just like what's going on here. Like what's that the girl in that video, she went how long without having to talk, without talking to her family and whatever, and she still says it was her decision. But that wasn't her decision. It's the decision made by what she's convinced of, by what the people around her are convincing her of is the best thing to do.
And the cult leader was replying to her family on her behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Wombles, 100%.
Truth, 100%. Yes. So I'm glad that the direction of this conversation that I kind of thought I was going to have today after talking to him and talking to Mariah, like I knew I wanted to review that video. I knew I wanted to discuss a little bit deeper into as carefully as possible. My thought process, I can't say certain things, but I can express myself the best I can, and it's in a way where I'm just speculating. But if I could somehow get my feelings out to someone like Evil Teapot and says, my hopes are that when they go live again, they'll take what I'm saying, take what they already feel, take what Mariah says in the comments, which is very little, but Mariah drops bombshells. If you all pay attention to what Mariah says, the biggest Easter eggs in my conversations mostly come from Mariah. And if you all take that, I think you guys are the biggest weapon and biggest shield that Nick has on this platform, and Nancy. Like, you guys do things where, like, you're almost controlling how Pat has to make a move, because he knows you're going to call it out. He knows you're going to say things that doesn't want to come out. So when Nancy posted about that one guy, whatever happening, if I was Pat, I would freak the fuck out. Like, delete that. Like, I would figure out if it's true, or if I knew it was true and I already like did something, I would want to somehow be in control of that. Especially if I'm running a Netflix reality TV show in my brain, I would try to control things. And so, like, you guys taking what I provide and then what Mariah provides, and it's what you already believe and what you already are seeing, I feel like you guys could really like help the situation.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's what we're, trying to do at best. Is here's the facts that we know. Here's what it is, and the good thing about us is we don't have that relationship with Nick that we're worried about losing or anything. So we're just like, here's what it is, and here's what we think, and Pat, if you don't like it, tough titty, said the kitty. But it's that this is, and Pat's not gonna shut us up whatsoever, or Madison. They know that. And if anything, we've shut them up a few times where they've went offline and had to reevaluate a few things, and hopefully that helped in some sort of way. Well, it did help, because they haven't been on and putting out these meetings and private information of residents since we had a chat with Madison about, hey, while you're on vacation, this is what happened, just so we can let you know about your job that you're missing out on. But this is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, even Teapot is funny as fuck, you guys. But I just want you all to know, like, you are one of the biggest puzzle pieces in the protection for Nick. Like, it's just really important what you all do. I know Pat's not gonna like that I'm saying that, because I'm like literally telling you guys good job. When I'm supposed to be like, don't post bad stuff anymore about them. Could you all please be in your best behavior?
We don't post though.
You're gonna.
Oh, well, I don't.
No. I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, like, I'm supposed to say take it down. Like, don't do that, you guys. Be nice, play nice, leave Pat alone, leave Graceland alone. But like, you guys are, since I have to be quiet, it's important that you guys keep doing what you're doing and what your platforms are already all about. So it's kind of protecting my friend.
We respect you, Jessica, but we're not going to shut up. So even if you did, we're not shutting up. And the other thing I think we do well in our life, well, this is what people have told us, right, is we have our opinions and we'll share the information. But a big part of it is that I especially, like we've all said, we want people to make up their own minds. So, like, yeah, if you don't agree with us, don't agree with us. But here's some information. Now what do you think? Like, what... we've had people come in and say, well, what about this about Graceland? We're like, okay, but then what about this, this, and this? So does that change your mind? Yeah, great. If it doesn't, okay, that's fine. That's your opinion.
Yeah. So just don't stop what you're doing. Like, you guys are a huge part. I know Nick is going to see a lot of your all's videos. He's going to see a lot of the clips. He's going to see all the facts. I think at the end of the day, when this is all said and done, he's going to have mass respect for you guys. Not that you're seeking that, but I'm just saying out loud, like, I think that you guys are not doing something bad. You are doing something that I think at the end of the day is going to be good.
I hope so.
Yep, that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to, this is how it is from the other side. Like I said, we don't have anything that we could lose, in this, or that we're going to lose any contacts or anything like that. And the more and the worse, and it's the more and more people that leave there, the more and more things are going to come out, and the more, like, they can't, there is no stop in the train that's already started.
Amen. Well, thank you all for coming up on this panel. Are you going to go live soon?
No, we were already live earlier tonight. Yeah.
What did y'all cover?
We went over those videos, and then I had some UK friends come in and give us a whole bunch of UK drama update, but we went over those videos as well.
What was it? What's going on in the UK?
Oh, just
What's not going on?
Yeah, just so much. I see. I come from the UK side of drama. That's where I was doing most of my stuff and posting and all that stuff. So I've completely left the UK side for the past few months to do all this stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, Cheryl, I think that's definitely like in the works. I don't want to ever like get views like on a video or post something with Nick that's going to like do something that's not going to be like in his best interest. Like I don't want to post nothing where it's like clout based for me. So like strategically with how I move with Nick, I want to make sure I move in a correct manner. Again, like someone like Evil Teapot, they're watching. So if I make moves where it makes it contradict everything I stand for, it contradicts everything. Not that I would even do something like that, but I got to make sure that I don't ever sway. So if someone said, like, say Pat was like, we want to bring Jessica out here and make a video. We want to talk about how great Graceland is. Like, I don't think I could do that. It would have to be about like Nick or about like my friendship with him. I don't think I can advocate for Graceland. I don't think that's what what I'm about. It's my friend. It's not about them to me. It's about him. And if I change that, then everything I stood for from the very beginning, where I said like, I'm not here to justify his past. Everything he did in the past was bad, and I respect it. I get it. I'm just basing it off my interaction with him as a streamer and like how he respected me. So like if that's my ground and then I change that, then I have nothing to stand on. I'm no longer a valuable or my word isn't going to mean anything. I'm going to become another one of the situations that I just don't want to be that. So I don't know if I would ever post. I don't know what kind of content I would post with him, but I would definitely do something to help him. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I think how you move in life, it really defines who you are.
Absolutely.
And it's good that Nick has the support of you and Mariah. It's good that at least he knows that he has you guys at least if he leaves or whatever. No matter what, it's always good. No matter who you are, it's always good to have someone there for you, right? Yeah.
Like how would I look if I went and made like a podcast with him and like post all these contents with him and like us doing stuff? To me, it's gonna look like I think my whole character falls apart. That's how I look at others when they do that. So I don't know.
I guess you just follow his lead, right? If he wants to do that with you and he wants your support, then there's nothing wrong with that. You're doing what you've been doing the whole time. That's advocating for him. And although we don't necessarily agree, and we've always said we respect the hustle and the way you advocate for him. I mean, if I was ever in his position, I would want you in my corner for sure.
Well, I am in your corner, just so you know. I do got your back. I do respect you guys, and I do, I just think it's important. And I think that's where another creator that's very similar to me kind of went wrong, is if you stand on your shit and you say, this is who I am, like, that's who you are. Be it. Be about it. Don't just speak it.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what I want to make sure that I never fail at. I want to make sure I'm always like representing myself in the best manner and the best way possible. And it's not even a second guess thing. It's just when someone asks me a question like making content, I want to make sure I answer it the correct way and I handle it the right way. But I know you all already had your all lives tonight. You guys are awesome. Please make sure you guys are following Evil. Follow Ashley, and thank you all for being here tonight. And I'm sure they're going to go live tomorrow. Probably new content every single day. Keep doing what you guys are doing, and I love you all.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us up. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Ashley, for sitting up here chilling. I know you're
Tony.